Hey, it's Anna. It's a fairly balmy and very noisy Saturday morning in downtown Raleigh. I am looking down at one of my favorite fall mushrooms. This is Grifola frondosa, also known as hen of the woods. It is a delicious edible. It also comes back in the same spot year after year. They are wood decomposers, but they grow at the base of mature oak trees primarily. And so Raleigh being the city of oaks, or at least fashioning itself as the city of oaks, it's a pretty good place to go and find them. So this is a mushroom that is also sold commercially under the name maitake. This one's very, very dense. So, when you find this mushroom sort of sold in the stores, it will be about the size of your fist, and it's made up of a bunch of really fine little fronds. When you find the wild version, it's just basically the same fruiting body, it just gets larger. And so, in culture, they're usually grown in bottles, and so there's a limitation to how big the fruiting body can be, because it's about the size of the top of whatever bottle it was grown in. Whereas these guys can get to be, I would say this specimen's probably 5 pounds maybe. Anyway, so distinguishing characteristics. First of all, it gets its common name, hen of the woods, because the fruiting body often looks very feathery. So, looking at the base of this tree, I guess you could think that this looks like a hen if your vision isn't particularly good. So, again, it's sort of feathery and frondy. It is usually in this sort of brownish color, although sometimes you'll see them more in gray and lighter browns. This one is a pretty dark colored specimen. So besides the fronds growing at the base of oak trees, the main distinguishing characteristic of Grifola frondosa is that it is a polypore, meaning that instead of having gills underneath, it has this sort of porous surface underneath, and that's where the spores fall from. So, unlike a lot of other mushrooms kind of in this category, it doesn't have any staining reactions. So there is a mushroom that's called Myripelis sumstinea, also known as the black staining polypore. And a lot of times people will mistake that mushroom for this one. That's not a much of a problematic mistake, because that mushroom is also edible, but it has the same sort of fronds, and it stains radically black when you damage it. I do have a video about it with a really, really gross old specimen, so you can see the lovely black staining. So, as far as culinary uses, this mushroom is really versatile. It's very meaty. You want to cook it well, and sometimes it may be a little bit alarming. It'll put off a little bit of what smells like chlorine or a chemical-y smell. That is nothing to be concerned about. That's not the, something that lingers in the flavor, but it can be a little bit odd. It's, again, kind of a chlorine-y, chemical-y kind of thing. They are really good for long-term storage as well, which is great because, I'm out today. There will probably be, hens around for the next couple of weeks at the most. And so what I plan to do is load up on them and then throw them in the freezer. Unlike a lot of other mushrooms, they hold up to freezing really well. So all you have to do basically is harvest them and clean them as well as you can. Cut them up into small pieces, and then you can, throw them in the freezer. And I actually haven't eaten all of the ones that I found last year, so I'm going to be picking and choosing the ones that are the most delightful to me. When they get larger, I do have a recommendation around, what to eat and what not to eat. So, this one is about as large as I think I'm all that interested in. You can certainly find them much larger, and the meat is still edible. It's just a little bit more carroty or tuberish, so it's got a lot more crunch than I'm accustomed to or really like in mushrooms. That being said, you can collect them, make them into stocks. They have a lot of really good flavor. So it really is just sort of a personal preference thing, but I really do like my hens to be rather tender. So again, Grifola frondosa. I also want to bring your attention to the weirdest thing. One of my favorite things about mushroom hunting is the strange crap that you find when you're outside. So this is a book called Faith, The Supernatural Connection by Greg Ware. I don't know exactly what it is that I'm missing in here, but I just opened to a page that is all about believing in the unseen. I'm not going to be taking this with me. I don't think it's edible, and it certainly is no longer in the best condition for a specimen of this species. So I'm just going to take the hen, throw a lot of it in my freezer, and I'm going to proceed onward, see if I can make the rest of my rounds and, clean up with 10, 15 pounds by the end of the day.